When I tell you that this might be my favorite season in years, I'm not lying. I think Chapter 6 is exactly what the game needed, almost to a T. And while it does have a few flaws, generally this season was completely fantastic. And I just want to sort of go over why I think Chapter 6 Season 1 was pretty much the perfect thing Fortnite could do, coming off of Chapter 5 and Remix, to bring players back to the game and to give it the flow that it needed. Now, off the bat, a lot of you might not know who I am, so I'm just going to give some credentials as to why I have a valid opinion on the matter. These are my stats this season. So, take with that what you will. But I think I'm in a pretty knowledgeable place to speak on this season and how good I think it is. As another preface, I just want to say that I literally switched inputs. I switched from controller to keyboard and mouse this season, and I've been on keyboard for like maybe a month or so. And I still, on keyboard and mouse, am loving this season. Even though I'm not as good, even though I don't have the skill that I had on controller because I just recently switched over, I've actually still been able to have some really, really good games this season, and I think that just adds to my love for this season. I'm not going to keep yapping about myself. Let's yap about Chapter 6 Season 1 and why I think it's pretty much the perfect solution to what Fortnite had going on for the past chapter or two. The first main point that I kind of want to make, supporting my claim that this season is amazing, is how it completely contrasts the issues that we've had with the past couple of chapters. See, Chapter 5, notably, was just not Fortnite-y. Sure, there were parts of the first two seasons that I believe did feel pretty good, but outside of that, between the map and especially the gunplay, it felt really, really bad. I was having to put 1 million attachments on my gun with bullet drop just so that I could have a gun that was almost as good as the basic guns that were already in the game. If that was not the problem, then I would have to dodge cars, which would do 200 damage to me if they touched even my little pinky toe. The game just generally was not as enjoyable and everything felt like a chore. What we needed was hit scan weapons and a simpler meta. Chapter 4 had its own problems, notably that the map was incredibly hard to traverse and fight on. It was just really weird, and a lot of the guns in some of the loot pools were not balanced. I think Chapter 6 has done a fantastic job at kind of doing the opposite of this. While it does have a really, really large map and some weird guns, just like Chapter 4 and Chapter 5, I think they've done a much better job with this than they have with the last two, and kind of took the positives from both and combined them together. Although the map is definitely too large, they also have a lot of POIs, so it kind of makes up for it. It's still a little bit too big, but generally, I am a big fan of this map, and I think a lot of the POIs are very cool. They just need to add like a giant POI, like a main POI, like Chapter 2 had the agency or like just the middle island. Chapter 1 had tilted. Like they got to add some big POI to kind of attract a lot of players because Seaport isn't it. Other than that, I love this map, and while I do kind of wish it had the old OG graphics, I understand why it doesn't because they have so many modes with the old graphics now. And I actually think this one looks pretty cool compared to the last two. I'd probably give this map an 8.5 out of 10. I really like it. The best part of this season though is the loot pool. I mean, just look at these hit scan guns. They feel so good. The hollow twister, the veiled scope, and pretty much all of the guns just feel so smooth. While the hollow twister is really strong, I don't believe that it's overpowered, and they've generally balanced out this loot pool really, really well, especially compared to some of the seasons that we've seen recently. My only complaint would be with the shotguns, because there is one really good shotgun, which is a Sentinel, and the other kind of can't keep up. But that's okay because the Oni's actually really good in zero build, and it's still decent in build mode. But we haven't even gotten into the best part, which is the movement. So many movement options between the katana, the typhoon blade, shockwaves, cars everywhere on the map, and literally the Oni mask, the teleporting Oni mask, one of the coolest, most unique items that we've ever seen in this game that is so good it almost makes every other movement item seen insignificant. Not to mention the unvaults this season. We have seen so many cool items unvaulted. My favorite would easily have to be the railgun. I am not ashamed to admit that that thing makes me erect in my pants. I love the railgun so much. It really gives me hope that this chapter they're going to go all out on bringing back fun guns we haven't seen in a while. Seeing that next season the Mammoth Pistol, which is my favorite gun, is going to come back in mythic rarity, as well as the Rocket Ram already being leaked to come back, is definitely not expected, and it's a very welcome surprise because I absolutely love when they bring back cool weapons and items from loot pools just to switch things up. My biggest and really only major complaint with the loot pool is that the Typhoon Blade is a little bit too overpowered, especially in no builds. It's a little bit hard to do anything, but
since we've come off of things like the Nitro Fists and stuff, I ain't gonna complain too much about it, but it definitely could use a little bit of a nerf, and I kind of hope it's not in next season. Even the little extra features about this season, like sprites and stuff, have been really, really cool. And the map just generally feels really, really interactive. Island's pretty cool with that really awesome medallion that played a huge role in FNCS. That was really cool. And honestly, overall, this season just feels completely unique from anything we've ever seen, even though it kind of takes down some themes we've seen before, like the Japanese kind of theme. A great map, a great loot pool, super, super fun little gimmicks with the season. This season has got to be potentially my favorite since Chapter 3, and I would say that the only thing that would compete with it is Chapter 4 Season 2, and that was a very, very similar season to this one, at least as close as you can get to this one. It's probably the most similar season to this one, but again, this season is so unique and interesting. Like, I just don't think anything really comes close to this one, and in terms of creativity and working everything out, like, this has just been a fantastic start to a chapter, which kind of reminds me of Chapter 3, which was my personal favorite chapter. And I think this is how the start to every chapter should go. This was so cool. But I didn't even mention probably my favorite part of the season, saving the best for last. We got a freaking Godzilla boss. Now, they've tried bosses like this before, and usually they've been really overpowered or kind of just underwhelming. No, this one was sick. This thing was terrifying. Now, I never actually got to be Godzilla, and I don't really care because I found so much joy in fighting this guy. It was an experience, dude. I remember playing with one friend, and I did not tell him that Godzilla was in the game. Well, let me just tell you how that went down. Oh my... Run.
I still haven't gotten it yet.
Those 2 days that he had a 100% spawn rate, going into every single game, trying to hunt it down and fight the guy with Godzilla, was so fun. And I'm super sad that they took it out as soon as they did. I think they need to do something like this almost every season. This was so fun. The new movement stuff is cool. It's not that useful, and sometimes it kind of makes you roll and stuff when you don't mean to, but the wall running is super cool. And I just wish they would let you bind it to other buttons, because this genuinely could be useful if we were actually able to do it when we wanted to, and it didn't just kind of make us jump and hurdle and stuff when we weren't trying to. Let's just say I've played a lot of this season. I'm a big fan. Let's just say my highest level before this season was 337. Now, I've only been talking about Battle Royale. I think that all the new modes they're releasing don't really count as part of Chapter 6 Season 1. That's more of a chapter thing as a whole, and this is just kind of a review of the specific season. But having modes like literally 1-to-1 OG Fortnite and Ballistic and Reload all being constantly updated with really, really cool stuff is what the metaverse should have been like last year. A bunch of Fortnite-like game modes, not game modes that are like other games in Fortnite. And genuinely, the game is in such a good state right now because there are so many options. Even if you don't like Chapter 6, there's so many other game modes you can play along with creative. Like, come on, this game is cooking right now. The only thing that might ruin it is the fact that for whatever reason, they decided to cut server costs. Yeah, the desync this season, the lag, and genuinely like just ping spiking and stuff has been so much worse than before, and it kind of makes build mode a little bit annoying to play sometimes. But if they just pump a little bit of extra money back into the servers, we should be fine. So hopefully the brain cells that they've been rubbing together to create Chapter 6 Season 1, they decide to put together again to put more money back into the servers like they should have been doing from the start. If you've watched me before, then you already know what time it is. It's time to rate everything. The map of this season, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Really, really good. Loot pool of this season, gonna give it an 8 out of 10. Really, really good. You can already guess what I'm gonna rate the season overall. 8 out of 10. Absolutely fantastic. This season is probably right below my top 10, and I'm really sad to see it go. I'm literally staring at my lobby right now like an hour and a half before servers go down, and I'm really sad that we have to get a new season, even if the new season looks promising, because I love this one so much. Thank you, Epic Games, for pulling through with an absolutely amazing experience. Coming off of my 2 least favorite chapters of all time, this is definitely bringing it back. This is what the last 2 chapters of Fortnite have been trying to be. And while this is incredibly unique and feels different from anything we've ever had majorly, it still captures that Fortnite feel, and it feels like, well, I'm playing Fortnite. I hope you guys enjoyed this season as much as I do, and I hope you guys also enjoyed this video. I'll be seeing you guys in Season 2 with some more fun content. God bless you all, and I hope you have a fantastic day. This season is awesome.